Hey everybody, welcome back to our Advent series Expectation. Today is day 5 and we are talking about unexpected ministry. When I was a seminary student studying to be a pastor, I picked up a part-time job at the local YMCA. This was out in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Being a grad student at the time, even with Tobin working a full-time job as a bank teller and taking out some student loans and the scholarships that I received from the school, it felt like we were just barely making ends meet. And so I took out this job initially in hopes of bringing in a little bit of extra money to help us that way. But I also appreciated being able to show up for work and just work my shift and then go home. There was nothing to prepare beforehand and no homework to do afterwards. I could show up and go home and be done with it. And I liked that aspect of it too. So I worked in what was called the child watch room. When someone came to exercise at the Y, they would drop their kids off there with us and work out for an hour or two and then come pick them back up. So we were a bit of a daycare, but less structured than a full day daycare sort of situation. We took kids as young as 6 weeks. And depending upon the time of day, sometimes we took them as old as 6 years old, and sometimes we took them as old as 12, all in the same room together. So it was a lot of fun. We got to color and read books and play games and all sorts of those things that you do with kids. And like I said, it was nice to just show up and do my shift and go home. And at first, it seemed like it was that simple and that it really didn't have much to do with seminary or, my internships at churches or some of the other things that I was doing. But I realized over time that actually it did. While I was there, myself and my other coworkers too, we worked hard to learn the names of the kids so that when they came in, we could call them by name, we could smile at them and tell them that we were glad they were there and we were happy to see them. And over time, I realized that for some of our kids, some of our kids came from tough situations at home for a whole variety of reasons. And that for some of them, this was maybe the only time in their day that they heard that. The only time in the day where someone called them by name, knew them for who they were and told them that they were happy to see them and glad that they were there. For some of our kids, it was maybe the only time that they heard that. And so I started to realize that even though this initially seemed like just a silly job and not something that was related to the other studies I was doing, I realized over time that this really was a ministry that I was doing, a real way that I was serving these kids and serving God by working with them in this way. So I'm wondering if you have any stories like that from your life of times that you thought that you were doing just a little thing, but it turned out to have a much bigger impact on others or even a much bigger impact on you. And especially right now when some of the ways that we might normally volunteer to work with other people are, more limited than normal, I'm wondering too if there are little things that you found you can do to have that impact on people or on yourself still. So if you have a story, I would love to hear it. You can comment on the video or send me a message. And tomorrow, my special guest with us tomorrow is the Reverend Seth Carey, who is the senior minister of my home church outside of Chicago. I'm super excited to have him as a guest here, and he has a story for us that is very different than anything we have heard so far. So I think you're going to like it. Thanks for tuning in again today, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.